Governor Chris Christie, you missed him, didn't you? Well, he is blasting President Obama for the supercommittee's failure, calling him a bystander in the Oval Office. Take a listen.
Listening to the spin coming out of the administration about the failure of the supercommittee, and that the president knew it was doomed for failure, so he didn't get involved. Well, then what the hell are we paying you for? It's doomed for failure, so I'm not getting involved? Well, what have you been doing exactly?
Awesome, right? Okay, time to let the Willis watchdogs out. Yu-Dee Chang is the sole principal and chief trader for Ace Investment Strategists in D.C. Carol Roth is a business strategist and New York Times best-selling author in Chicago. Monica Crowley is a radio talk show host. Carol, let's start with you. Did you like what the governor had to say?
I absolutely did, Gerri. There's a difference between delegation and abdication. And as a leader, you can delegate certain tasks, but that doesn't mean that you abdicate your responsibilities and your oversight. And I can't think that you, as a leader, set people up to fail. You give them the tools to succeed. So he has to stop playing games, stop playing pass the buck, because when you are a leader, especially the president, the buck stops with you.
Yu-Dee, come on. We got to do some campaigning here. There's a campaign coming up. We got to go across the country on the taxpayer dime and talk people into voting for us, right?
Yeah, what the hell are we paying him for? I think the more question will be, what the hell are we paying Congress for? You know, it's kind of interesting. Yeah. When Mr. Obama was campaigning, he promised there would be change to come, right? So I've never seen such a big change from him with the other presidents. He's such an indecisive, do-nothing president. I'm telling you, Gerri, he has no vision for the country. He has no solution for our problems. No. He just wants to follow the poll and spin the results and be a so-called populist liberal. That's all he wants to be.
Well, Gerri, it is true that the president has been AWOL on the debt discussions, on the supercommittee, and so on, but you have to take a look at his two real motivations for why. Number one, he wants to run against a do-nothing Congress, so he actually, from a political standpoint, wanted them to fail. And number two, this is not a man who's interested at all in deficit reduction. He doesn't want to cut spending. He doesn't want to rein in entitlements. He doesn't want to rein in the size of government. Look at the last 3 years of his record. All he has done is added on nearly over $4 trillion to the national debt, piled on a multi-trillion-dollar new entitlement in Obamacare that the country cannot afford. All he does is propose ever more spending. Right. So why would anybody think that his heart was actually in this? Well, it's not.
And those are all our favorite topics. The money. It's all about the money. Now we have to talk about Herman Cain. And here, it's not the money. It's the luck. He doesn't have any. Despite his best efforts to laugh off the latest allegation, his own lawyer seems to be working against him. She says Ginger White, her claim of a 13-year affair, was, quote, the latest an accusation of private alleged consensual conduct between adults, which is not a proper subject of inquiry by the media or the public. Are you kidding me? No individual should be questioned about their private sexual lives. Yu-Dee, you're a fellow. What do you say?
You know what, seriously, Mr. Cain, he hadn't been pretty consistent at all on his public policies. He hadn't been pretty consistent at all in explaining his 999 plan, but I think he has been pretty consistent in doing one thing throughout his adulthood life, you know. So, but in this case, I think it's time for him to step aside.
But isn't it really about, it's about the lying about it, isn't it? I mean, it's about, are you telling the truth about it? Okay, maybe it's a consensual relationship, but you're saying that it didn't happen when it did. I think for voters, that's the big question.
Right, and for voters, it's the drip, drip, drip of these constant allegations, whether they're true or not. If they're not true, where does he go to get his reputation back? If they are true, then he's created quite a mess of dissembling and so on. Look, Herman Cain had some serious issues in terms of policy weaknesses before all of these things came out, and I think a lot of conservative voters were looking for an alternative to Mitt Romney. They felt they had it in Herman Cain, but now he just seems to be so vulnerable and so weakened by all of this that I don't think he can come back.
Carol, can he come back?
Well, first of all, I love the part where they said that this shouldn't be accepted. I mean, scandal is a sport for America. We have entire magazines devoted to it. So not only should it be accepted, it should be expected. But I think that in the game of GOP candidate survivor, Herman Cain is the next one to be voted off the island. And I actually think, Gerri, they should do this during the debates because they would be so much more fun if somebody got voted off at the end of each debate, don't you think?
But you can't have the candidates themselves do that because you'll never come to any resolution. All right, talking about candidates, what about the Tea Party? The Richmond, Virginia Tea Party claims that the city's mayor is giving the local Occupy movement some special treatment. They've been slammed with a $10,000 bill for holding 3 rallies while the Occupies are getting a free ride. What's going on, Monica?
Huge double standard here, and the Richmond Tea Party is totally within its rights to demand an audit and to demand that the public officials who are seemingly giving the Occupy Wall Street folks a free ride, not making them pay for the permits, not putting restrictions on the time and place where they can actually assemble, all of the things that they made the Tea Party do when they were trying to assemble. Tea Party is totally within its rights, and look, they should be called on this, and there should be some public humiliation for these people.
Public humiliation, is that the way to go?
No, Gerri, I don't think there are double standards here. How can there be double standards when there are no standards for the liberals?
Well,
good point, Yu-Dee.
Carol,
good point.
Carol, what do you say?
Well, I think this is an example. The squeaky wheel doesn't always get the oil in the way that you have intended for it to. But I do think this is sending the wrong kinds of messages. It's saying, no good deed goes unpunished. If you do things the right way, we're going to scrutinize you. But on the Occupy side, it's really not teaching the financial lessons to these folks that we need to. It's telling them there is such a thing as a free lunch. And hey, if you don't pay for it, the taxpayers will.
And that is not only inequitable. That tab. Yeah. The Virginia taxpayers,
it's inequitable, it's frustrating, it's awful.
Ridiculous. You guys are great. Thanks for coming in tonight. Great job, great panel. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gerri.
All right,
Thanks,
the man.